Back to the net, this is WO3X.
Good enough, John. Thank you for being here with us this evening, and thank you for that update on the VE test sessions for Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club. You guys do a great job, and we have quite a few folks from the Cuyahoga Falls group check in with us on other nets. Always great to hear from you folks, and you take care of yourself. If I don't get a chance to talk to you in the near future, we'll look forward on down the line somewhere. Take care, John. 7-3. NT8D, W8WKY. Dave, good evening. I know you'll get this trivia answer right. Over to you.
Oh, good evening there, Fred. I hope you didn't bet any money on that. I'm doing okay. Busy week, which is good, because I need to make money to keep the bills paid this month. Just, last month I bought that trailer. I thought everything was looking good, and then tax season came around, and bam, the other shoe dropped, and it's just the way it is. But it's okay. Took in a new client today, old Yamaha piano, and it had been well taken care of in the past, but it hadn't been tuned in a couple of years. Her tuner has retired, and but we got it back into shape. I got 2 more tomorrow, and they're both nice pianos, a Kawai console and a Yamaha Grand. So tomorrow shouldn't be too difficult of a day. I don't, some pianos you just worry about what's going to break when you touch it, and those are the ones that make it just a stressful day. But tomorrow should be okay. And then hopefully we'll get back to the boat this week. Just been too busy. But I've been enjoying the sunshine, being out. Wish I could take advantage of it a little bit more. Trivia question. I'm not going to ask Gary to repeat it. And again, congratulations on your re-election, Gary. If the word orbit is in the question, I'm going to pick letter C. And if the word orbit is not in the question, I'm going to pick letter D, delta. I didn't pay close enough attention to the question to try to discern a nuance when I heard all the foils and the answers. So, Gary, I know you can probably sort that out. But thanks a lot. I'm going to probably listen on to the answers on the scanner there, Fred. And thanks for taking a Tuesday night net, an evening before you do a barometer net. We'll catch you in the morning. W8WKY, NTAD.
All right, Dave. I am counting, relying, leaning heavily on our club president-elect, AAHCS, to track all these answers and let me know how many good answers we've got and how many just missed by a little bit. I'm sure he will be able to do that for us. But, glad to have you aboard this evening. I've always been partial to Baldwin's, but I got to say, this Yamaha that I've got, very, very pleased with it. And probably going to give you a call here in the near future to get your tail over here and make it perfect. We'll talk to you soon, 7-3. NALTR, my pal Bill over in Clinton. Bill, great to hear you this evening. I think you'll get this answer right. W8WKY.
W8WKY in a group, NALTR. Oh, hey, Dave, you forgot Mason and Hamlin. That's another one you can add to your list. Sister's got a baby grand, Mason and Hamlin. Certainly has not been taken care of. If you pound on the keys real hard, I'm sure cat fur comes out from underneath the piano. Oh, question. Good question. Racking my head over this one. I know that Sputniks didn't last very long because they did not know about atmospheric drag, and that was the first time they experienced it. And so I'm going to go for the last one in the group, just as a guess. Let's figure out that the first three might have been casualties. Maybe the fourth one's still up there. So I think that was the Vanguard satellite, because Explorer went up before Vanguard. And I remember I was a kid when I watched that launch. I was made to sit down in front of the TV set. Didn't know what I was looking at. Black and white in those days. I was 3, I think, maybe 4. Anywho, so we'll go for Vanguard. Fred, good net, and we'll see you Thursday at LPR.
Okay, Bill, I think you and I are about in the same ballpark age-wise, because I do remember watching launches on black and white, so showing our ages. But yeah, we'll mark you down for D, Vanguard, and see what's going on. But thanks again for all the help, and glad you're here with us this evening. Brian, KFAG over in Norton, was in and out. Brian, if you're still listening, have a good one. Phil, K8PJW, our master of history in the mornings on the Barometer Net. Phil, it's good to hear you this evening. Hopefully you're doing well. What's new with you, and what's your answer for this trivia question? It's a great one.
W8WKY, K8BJW. Good evening, Fred, and good evening, all SARA netizens. Great to hear everyone. It's a terrific question. I like it, and I'm going to go in the Delta column, for the Vanguard one. I think that one's still floating around up there somewhere. So, but we'll see at the end of the night. Anyway, things are going fine here, so I'm going to hand it back to you, Fred, and take more answers. So it's K8PJW, back to the net.
All right, Phil, we will mark you down for D, Delta, the answer, Vanguard. And thank you for being here with us this evening. Always good to get a chance to say hello to you, other than in person at the meetings. Hopefully you have a good rest of your Tuesday evening, and we'll look forward to hearing more history from you in the morning. We really appreciate that as well. With that, we've got Mike in here, WB8CXO. I think I have that call sign right. Mike, good evening. How are you? What's new with you, and what's your answer for this trivia question? W8WKY.
W8WKY, repeater, PL114.8.
All right, Mike, a little bit low on the audio this evening, but did manage to copy you. We'll leave your answer blank. We'll see what goes on. It's going to be an interesting situation here at the end to find out who knows more about these satellites that were launched. But thanks for being here. As always, we appreciate it, and hopefully you'll have a good rest of your Tuesday and rest of the week. Don't be a stranger. John, K-E-A-U-I-B. Good evening, buddy. I hope everything is well with you. We'll throw it over to you, see what's new with you, and see what your answer is for this trivia question.
Good evening, Fred, and everybody on the net. You guys know me, living that $5 dream a nickel at a time. And tonight, the trivia question. Wow, I'm really, really baffled. I don't believe I've heard anybody pick B yet for Bravo, so I think I'll make that my answer, Bravo. And doing pretty good this evening. Enjoying it's a beautiful day today. Snuck out of work a little bit early. Enjoyed the evening with the missus. Got some stuff done around the house, so that's always a good thing. With that, just good evening, everybody, and this is KE8UIB back to net 7-3, y'all.
John, good man. Got some stuff done around the house, plus enjoyed a little bit of this beautiful weather with your darling bride. Good to hear it. And keep living that $5 dream a nickel at a time. Hopefully we'll get a chance to say good morning to you again tomorrow morning. And stay tuned for Gary's answer to this great trivia question. Thanks, pal. Take care. Mark, KC8FQV, out in Portage County. It's all yours, Mark. Good evening. Hopefully you're well. What's your answer to the trivia question?
W8WKY.
Which Mark were you calling? KCFQV in Portage County? KCFQV?
I was calling you, Mark, KC at FQV. KC8FQV, WAWKY. Take it away, Mark.
All right, I'm going to say Delta. Yeah, this is the first time we've done it on demand. Didn't see a show. My mom didn't. Sunday night equalizer, so I found it on demand. And I thought, flashed a couple of things at the beginning about commercials or something. So when the commercial came on, I said, well, let's see it goes for. No, don't. You got to watch the commercial when you're on demand. When you're watching it on the second run. If you watch it on demand, if you record it, then you can zip through them, I guess. Yeah, and there was a major problem with the cable system today and the internet. Yeah, the internet went down. Telephone went down. Matter of fact, so everything was a mess. I did a search on the phone, or cable outage, and someone up in Willoughby that cabled out in Willoughby. So, and then I read somewhere in all the posting that said Northeast Ohio. I would figure it probably was Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania. I recall that. That was one of their zones they did when they did all this cable. And they took all the towers down. You don't know. They go. The TV stations, they go right in the back of the broadcast switcher, like 3. They go right to the back of that switcher and hook it right out there and bring it out to the cable system. So, but I'm going to say Delta. So, I'll send it back to net, KCFQV.
Fair enough, Mark. We've got you down for D, Delta. That would be the Vanguard satellite. Thanks for being here with us this evening. Take care of yourself. 7-3. W8ELM from WAWKY. Eric, great to have you here with us this evening. Always a pleasure. What's new with you? And what's your answer for this fabulous trivia question from Gary?
Well, thank you, Fred. Good to be here. And good to hear everybody tonight. As far as the trivia, I am torn between A and D. I want to say D because if I recall, it had a highly elliptical orbit, And I thought, well, that might keep it in orbit longer. But I'm going to go with A because I have no idea what the designation ISZD1. So put me down for A. Back to net. This is W80LM.
All right, Eric. We've got you down for A Alpha, and we will see. You could be right. You know, this is a really great question, and I think answers are probably going to be all over the map. Anyway, you take good care of yourself. We'll say 7-3 for the moment, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you again real soon. And next up, Katie at SLG. Nick, you did a fabulous job on your presentation at the club meeting last week. I thought it was fabulous, and I think probably everybody else did too. Amateur radio protocol on nets. Probably there are quite a few folks like me who need to brush up on that. So, good job. What's new with you? And I know you'll get this answer right also. Over to you.
WAWKY, this is Katie at SLG. Good evening, Fred. Twice in one day. What a rare treat, my friend. Fine business tonight. And good evening, SARA and friends. That's my Gary impression there. I'm practicing to be president. Oh, man. Let's start off with D for Delta. Delta tonight is going to be my guest. Yeah, I think Sputnik's just a distraction. I never pick C's for Gary, and I have ISZD1 sounds like an android from Star Wars designation to me. So D, Delta there. Good times tonight. Good to hear everybody out there. If you don't have enough net from this one tonight, I'm going to take the reins away from Russ there and suggest everybody go to the WatchNet afterwards. KD8QGQ down there in Millersburg. Charlie does a fine job. He's a trip. That's 146 Mark 670 negative offset with a PL tone of 71.9. That's KD8QGQ. And that's a good time. Starts at 9 o'clock right after us. That's all I got tonight, man. I will hear you dark and early tomorrow morning at that ungodly hour of 7 a.m. there, Fred. You have fun with this thing. KD8SLG, back to net control.
Nick, always great to hear from you, and I do appreciate your presence here this evening. And, yeah, the WatchNet, following right after our net. Those folks down there in Millersburg, great folks. Miss having the capability to reach down that far. I could do it when I was over in Firestone Park. Elevation here, and I'm down in the hole, so can't really do it. But do give them my best regards, and we'll mark you down for D Delta, for the Vanguard, and we'll see what flies with Gary's answers. Take care of yourself, pal. Talk to you in the morning. W8GMF. Gary, good to hear you this evening with us here. I hope everything's well with you. We'll throw it over to you, ask you what's new, and see if you've got an answer for this trivia question. W8GMF, W8WKY.
W8WKY on the net. This is W8GMF. Well, thank you. Say hi to everybody on the net. And let's rephrase that, see if I got a guess. Maybe a semi-educated guess, but we'll go with D, Vanguard 1, I think. I believe that was D. Hopefully that was Delta. Don't have too much other to say, except I'm trying to get set up here for the exam tools, and seems like it's a little more complicated than I originally thought, jumping through all the hoops to get set up. But other than that, things are going good. So other than that, all I've done recently is went to the weather presentation last Thursday night there at the Worcester Library. So back to everybody's doing okay, and 7-3, we'll catch you later. W8GMF.
Gary, it's always great to hear from you, and do appreciate you taking the time out to spend some time with us this evening. It's a great question. We're going to find out what's going on here from Gary in the very near future. But you take good care of yourself. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you soon. Who knows, maybe even off net hours. But thanks for being here. We'll mark you down for D Delta Vanguard. KC8 HDP. Jerry, congratulations on a fabulous presentation last week for the club on Skywarn. I thought that was really good and really appreciated. Actually, you may have prompted my better half to study for her license. We'll throw it over to you. It's new this evening, and hopefully you've got an answer for this trivia question. Over to you.
Well, good evening, Fred. Good to hear you on the net, and thank you for the trivia question, Gary. Boy, that's a tough one. I better answer it before I forget. I don't think I've heard anyone pick Charlie yet. Maybe they have. Even if they have, I'm going with Charlie. Well, and Fred, I hope your better half does go ahead and get her license. The family that hams together stays together. My favorite, what I was thinking of, my favorite answer for the trivia question isn't on the list, and that's the moon. Everybody knows the moon's hollow, and it's an artificial satellite. So my pick would be the moon if it was on the list. Anyway, thank you for your kind words about the presentation. Great meeting place. Anyone who didn't go, you need to come to the new meeting place. It is fantastic. You're not crowded in. Really great venue. Anyway, that's all I have for the net, so I'm going to send it back to you, Fred. W8WKY in the net from KC8HDP 73.
All right, Jerry. Thanks for taking the time to spend some time with us this evening. We will mark you down for C. Charlie. That was Explorer 1. And hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you again soon in the near future. It doesn't even have to be on the net. I think more time is needed on the radio outside of net hours. So anyway, take good care of yourself. 7-3, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon. Clark, up in Cleveland, N8 PZD. Clark, glad to have you with us this evening. How are you doing, and what's your answer for this trivia question? W8WKY.
All right. Well, I think I'm the last one on the list. So I was trying to mention earlier that for those that don't get recognized right away, just use some funny phonetics for your call sign. And that includes the answer for the trivia question. I know Nick is laughing. I'm taking peppermint ice cream. That's what went up first. That's N8PZD. Nobody ate purple zucchini downtown.
Clark, the first half of your transmission was fine, totally copyable, and the second was not. If you can give me the answer for the trivia question phonetically, please. Again, sorry about that.
Comment.
Go ahead.
This is KD8SLG, and nobody ate purple zucchini downtown there as a running joke with the beacon net on the trivia question, and he always answers peppermint ice cream. So Clark's answer tonight is peppermint ice cream. KD8SLG, back to net control.
Thank you, Nick. NPZ.
All right, Clark. Good enough. Thanks for being here with us this evening. Always good to hear from you. The repeater's not treating you as good this evening as it does in the mornings, but we do appreciate your presence, as always. And you take good care of yourself. Have yourself a good rest of your Tuesday, and hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you again in the morning. or on a beacon net tomorrow night. 7-3 for the moment. Also, I had Scott, KE8 VOX, over in Erie County, up on the shores of Lake Erie. Scott, good evening. Glad to have you here with us. What's new with you, and what's your answer for this trivia question?
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I had to come in on Echo Link. Too much noise up here for me to make it through the airwaves. So I'm going with A. Sounds like something maybe the Russians might have named one of their satellites and sent it up there instead of naming it Spunknik or whatever, So I'm going to go with A. Everybody have a great night.
Scott, we will mark you down for A Alpha to the answer to the trivia question. Thanks for being here with us. Echoling's treating you really well, by the way. And we will look forward to talking to you in the morning if you're around, if you have some time. Just take good care of yourself. And I imagine the weather was pretty nice up there on the shores later this evening, or later this afternoon. With that, I'm going to go ahead and pause here, and I'll ask for any stations that have not checked in that would like to for this evening's Tuesday night weekly net. W8WKY on this end.
Kilo 5, Romeo Foxtrot Golf, Ryan and Wadsworth.
Kilo Echo 8, Oscar. WV3K, Phil and Canal Fulton. Good evening, Fred.
All right, I'm going to pick it up there. I did copy K5 RFG, KE8 OWX, and WV3K. There may have been a collision in there. Did I miss anyone? All right, for those three stations, Gary, our fearless leader, AA8CS, would you care to go ahead and give out the question for this evening's trivia, and we'll take in these answers once you're done. W8WKY.
All right, Fred, I'd be pleased to do that. But before I do give the question back, I just want Purple Zucchini to know that he got the right answer. It is peppermint ice cream. Wow! I love it. All right, here we go. What is the oldest man-made object in Earth's orbit? Let me repeat that. What is the oldest man-made object in Earth's orbit? And Jerry had a nice comment there, thinking that the moon is artificial, and I mean, after all, it is made out of green cheese. Must be artificial, I'm thinking. At any rate, here's your distractors. Letter A, ISZD1, ISZ space D1. Letter B, Sputnik 1. Letter C, Explorer 1. Letter D, Vanguard 1. Back to that. This is AA8CS.
Gary, I have to say, that's a great question. Fabulous, actually. And I probably think there's some people out there that knew immediately what it was correctly, and others who are guessing, but we'll see what the tallies are at the end here. Ryan, K5, RFG, over to you. Thanks for being here this evening. What's new with you, and what's your answer to this trivia question?
This is the K5 RFG. Good evening, everyone on the net. Gary, this is a good question. You actually have me second-guessing myself between Charlie and Delta, but I'm going to go with my first thought, which was Charlie, as my answer for the trivia question. And then also you referenced the moon being green cheese. The official song for Mardi Gras back home, If Ever I Cease to Love, one of the lines in that song is, may the moon be turned to green cream cheese if ever I cease to love. With that, not a whole lot going on tonight with me. I'm on duty until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So I just happened to turn the radio on and heard the net. Figured I'd check in. Hope everyone has a great night. And with that, I'm going to throw it back to net control. This is the K5RFG.
K5RFG from WAWKY. Ryan, thanks for being here with us this evening. And you've got a leg up on some of us. Good to hear from you. Hopefully you've got the answer correct, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon. Drop in and spend some time with us on the Beacon Net or the Barometer Net, if you can. KE8OWX. Thomas, good to hear you tonight, man. I hope everything is well with you. What's new, and what's your answer for this trivia question?
W8WKY.
Oh, we don't have anything new here, but the group was listening in the car on the way home, and the group has decided it is the Vanguard 1. So with that, we'll turn it back to Nat and listen for the final answer here. KE8OWX.
Thomas, we appreciate your presence here this evening, just like we do in the mornings. Hopefully, hopefully your answer is correct, because that's the one I'm going to choose, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, again, thanks for being here. You take good care of yourself. Have a good rest of your Tuesday, okay? And enjoy this warmer weather we've got. WV3K. Phil, it's good to hear you this evening in here with us. Always a pleasure to say hello to you. What's new with you, and what's your answer for this trivia question?
Hello, Fred. This is Whiskey Victor 3 Kilo. I can only say that I'll be in excellent company if I don't get this right for the many that chose Vanguard. Oh, well, this is all for fun and for learning, too. Not that that's going to make any difference in the rest of my life, but one of these days, as I become a speck of dust, I'll be floating around with all the other things that are out there in orbit. So anyway, I hope that everyone is doing well, and blessings to all. And I hope that everyone's enjoying conversement and fellowship on this frequency. And I'm going to go ahead with Delta. So as I said, for as many that claim Delta is the answer, it's okay. I'll be all right. It'll be okay. So Delta is my choice, and if it's different, that's okay too. So Fred, back to you. It was good chatting earlier on the border or on the Barometer Net. I enjoyed that. I hope I can try to keep up with that. And y'all have a real nice evening. 73s to all, and many Lord's blessings. W8WKY Net Control. Fred, this is WV3K, Phil and Canal Fulton, and I'll be clear and on the side.
Alrighty there, Phil. Thank you for checking in with us tonight. And we'll mark you down for D Delta, as I hope Gary will mark me down for D Delta Vanguard, the Vanguard satellite. Phil, God bless you, man, and I hope everything is fine with you. Hopefully we'll get a chance to say good morning to you in the morning. If not, take good care of yourself and enjoy this warmer weather we've got going on. It's better than the 20 and 30 degrees, that's for sure. Take care, pal. 7-3. Gary, AA8CS, I am going to throw it back to you, and hopefully you've got the tally there, and hopefully we didn't miss anybody in here this evening. Everybody played pretty nice, I have to say, as Jim WB8VMW would say. AA8CS, W8WKY.
W8WKY, this is AA8CS. A couple things before I give you the answer. First, I was negligent to mention Jerry and Nick's presentation at the last club meeting. Seriously, they did a fabulous job, and I was very excited to hear both of them, and they did not disappoint. So Jerry, KC8HDP, and Nick, KD8SLG, a credit to their presentations, and they did just a super job. And I was very, lots of stuff there. The Jerry's presentation, that stuff is not included. The protocols are not included in the Skywarn presentations that gives you your certification for being able to recognize different cloud formations, et cetera, the actual how do you deal with the network was Jerry's emphasis, and it was really well done. And KD8SLG did the netiquette presentation, which, the reality is we get a little lax, and we get a little, everybody does it, and there's no harm in that. But periodically, we just got to reel it in, if you know what I mean. And I also want to mention Ryan, K5RFG. I can tell he's a romantic. So, Ryan, thank you for that tidbit of information there about green cream cheese. Really appreciate it. All right. We had 10 correct answers tonight, starting at the top, KG4SGK, W03X, N8LTR, K8PJW, KC8FQV, KD8SLG, W8GMF, and KE8OWX, W3VK, and of course, WA8KOC. You guys got the correct answer, which was letter D. And here's the explanation. It's a little bit lengthy, but it's kind of interesting, so bear with me. Yeah, I'm laughing too. Vanguard 1 can't claim to be the first artificial satellite in Earth orbit. That distinction belongs, of course, we all know that, to the Soviet-launched Sputnik 1. Vanguard 1 is actually the fourth artificial satellite after Sputnik 1 by the USSR and Sputnik 2, obviously, by the USSR, and then Explorer 1 by the USA. And despite being the fourth artificial satellite launched into Earth orbit, Vanguard can lay claim to several titles, however. The most notable of the titles is it could claim is the artificial satellite has been in Earth's orbit the longest. It was originally launched in March 17th of 1958, has been in orbit for over 60 years, and has orbited the Earth over 235,000 times. It completes a full elliptical, as Eric mentioned, it's a full elliptical orbit every 132.7 minutes. Unlike the three satellites launched prior to it, Vanguard 1 has not succumbed to orbital decay and burned up in the atmosphere. Vanguard 1 was originally launched as part of a two-part program. The primary function of Vanguard 1 was to serve as a test platform for the three-stage satellite launch rockets used for the Project Vanguard. Since getting something into orbit is neither small nor inexpensive, the satellite was configured to perform tests and observations once it was in orbit. Among the various tests undertaken by the satellite were studying the effects of space on a satellite and its systems. Basically, that was the orbital decay. The effect of atmospheric drag and the rate of orbital decay at high altitudes were two of the most useful contributions made by the satellite, and although it was operational until May of 1964, the data transmitted was invaluable for future satellite launches. Scientists had predicted, for example, that Vanguard 1 would have an orbital decay of 2,000 years. It turns out that, due to various variables and effects that had been excluded from their calculations, the orbital decay of Vanguard 1 is more like 240 years. Earth's longest-lived artificial satellite will burn up in the atmosphere around 2198, not 3958. And there you have it, and that was the answer. Thanks to all of you who participated. It's just a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed tonight's question. With that, I'll turn it back to Net, W8WKY. This is AA8CS. 73, all.
All right, Gary. Well, according to the mass of this satellite, I don't think it's anything real heavy. And back then, I don't think they were doing tungsten or anything like that. So it'd be interesting to find out and read further what material this satellite's made out of. But anyway, thank you for a great trivia question this evening. I will again second your recognition of Jerry and Nick for their presentations this past week. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk soon. I know the ungodly hour of 7 a.m. is not your cup of tea, but we appreciate you doing it Thursday and Friday and keeping the wheels turning. Thanks again, Gary. We'll say 7-3 for the moment, and congratulations on your re-election as club president. I'd like to thank all the stations that checked in this evening. I'd also like to thank those who are listening on scanners or other devices. This is really a great group of folks, and it's always a learning experience. So should you care to get your license, you can go to w8wky.org. That's the club website. Under education column, you will find our VE test sessions. It is not extremely difficult to study for it and pass the test to get your license. And I can give a strong recommendation that should you do so, you'll have a lot of fun with us. So anyway, with that, 7-3 to everybody. Thanks for those that came in this evening and had the correct answer to this trivia question. And for those who didn't, we always try and learn something. 7-3 to all. I'll return this repeater back to normal amateur use at 9:15 p.m. This is W8WKY/WA8KOC. 7-3 all.
WA8KOC, this is AA8CS.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Fred, since you asked, it's really funny about this satellite. Vanguard 1 was the size of a grapefruit, and it really and truly looked like something that you would see hanging up in someone's foyer. It was the size of a grapefruit, and it had 6 antennas sticking out. It had some solar cells. It was the first satellite to utilize solar cells for power. And someone else asked, I think it was Eric maybe, that he didn't know what ISZ D1 was. That actually was the third Sputnik satellite launched by the USSR the same year that Vanguard was launched, I'll bet a bit later. Anyway, I just thought I'd add that since you asked. Fred, nice job tonight on the net. Good group tonight, as always. like you said it right. This is a great group, and it is a lot of fun to be around these folks. With that, let me turn it back to you, and I'll be clear on your final. WA8KOC, this is AA8CS.
Okay, Gary, sincerely appreciate that, and this was a really great trivia question. And although we often get some other questions in, not regarding amateur radio, this was interesting, and always a pleasure to get a chance to say hello to you. So you take good care of yourself. We'll try and touch base with you Thursday or Friday in the morning, and just have yourself a good time. And our very best to Joyce, and hopefully you have a good evening. AA8CS, WA8KOC, and I'll be clear.